Why do you think that is? That's something that I was thinking about when you sent me that message yesterday. It's because you compare yourself to that other guy, right? I don't know, you took the example of, what's his name again? I think the guy who plays
Chris Evans.
right? Right?
Chris Evans, he's Captain America. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Should.
Yeah. Okay. So you take that as an example, and you still have like a very long way to go to achieve that body, right?
Yeah, so in that sense, it can become demotivating.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I message you, like, it's a breakthrough, in my opinion, in your mindset, because that's arriving to that epiphany where you see that the destination is the journey, right? Journey and the destination, because you mentioned also in that message, I don't care about money. I don't care about like having this type of physique. Um, if I focus too hard on those things, I get demotivated instead, right?
I think this is what it is. As they show signs that their body is improving, so their physique is improving, and the same thing happens with money. I think these things don't change anything. Like, you know, the quote, "Wherever you go, there you are."
Mhm.
Yeah. So you can arrive at this destination where you've got a chiseled six-pack, Olympic body and all the money in the world, but that's not going to change the relation. Ultimately, it's a relationship you have with yourself, right? And you're trying to, I think actually, speaking of it now, it's a symptom of forced aggression. You're trying to steamroll over that inadequate, that sense of inadequacy, which is the compelling force here for you to meet all these goals. And it doesn't work.
No, you need to enjoy the process,
Yeah.
especially with training and fitness. You need to have an end goal, but that end goal, you can't let it demotivate you, because it's a long process. If we're talking about body goals, fitness, getting healthy, it's not something that you can change from today and then tomorrow you have the physique that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what it really comes down to is to, I think, create a vision for yourself where you see that you can and enjoy that lifestyle, right? So for example, I'm working together with two clients, and it's boyfriend and girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they really struggle with consistency and workouts. They are pretty good, doing pretty good with the nutrition, so they're losing weight, they're getting closer to their goal. But the workout intensity, it's something that they really don't like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think this conversation that we're having right now just ties up really good into that, what they're struggling with, because they have an image that they want to become, probably, or a certain physique that they have in mind. And because they now just started with working towards that, like the end destination, it seems so far away, because they can see the progress, but the progress is going so slow in reality, right? And I think that's a little bit demotivating. And then I think we need to try and make that shift in their awareness of enjoying this process. Like, imagine you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like you're together with two people, and both of you, instead of seeing going to the gym as suffering and feeling resistance because the intensity is hard and you are going to have a little bit of time for yourself where you're going to push yourself, it's not all that fun. Imagine if you can shift that awareness and make it something cool in both their lifestyles in the relationship, where instead they see it like, fuck, we need to go to the gym, or we need to put this workout in, we're going to suffer again. man, this intensity is so hard. Imagine if you can shift that perspective into, oh, babe, I'm looking so forward to this evening when we're going to the gym together and have a nice time over there. See, like you set yourself that like 1 hour in a day together with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend, and you know, or you make a decision that you're going to have a fun time over there. Doesn't matter what the outcome is going to be. The outcomes, they're not going to be visible in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. They are going to be visible after 2 months, 3 months of consistency. So you better get aware of that fact and try to implement new stuff. What we're talking about now is working out into your lifestyle in the most compelling and fun way possible, right? So you can enjoy this process from the bat and you make it sustainable for you that you can execute with consistency. It's just a mindset shift, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I were to describe it, it is giving myself access to the present moment rather than thinking future tense and it being like a grueling mountain climb to get to a hollow, superficial goal, which is how I would describe getting into these like peak physical shapes. I mean,
and
I should rephrase it because those are valid goals, but I guess it depends where they come from. Like, what's the purpose of it? Like, are you trying to get ripped so you can overcompensate for your poor relationship with yourself, and this is your reference point to override that voice in your head, which insists you're an unworthy piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And so you can point to this and go, well, would an unworthy piece of shit be able to get a 6-pack, get this lean, be able to bench this much, whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's the origin of the pain.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't subside with that approach.
That's one of the reasons why I think this new type of program that you're going to be using with the new clients is going to be much more motivating and solves a lot of these types of problems, because here we can work towards or with measurements who surpasses only superficial things like a 6-pack, for example, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe we can bring more joy this kind of way if we can track their 1 rep or 10 rep maxes, and we can show them with data and with graphs how they're getting stronger. I think it's more fun for them, right? So they don't need to focus on that long-term perspective consistently, but they have the confirmation that they're doing something right. And
and the pot of gold at the end is just almost superfluous. Like it's just excess.
It's an automatic end result for piling up those good habits steadily up on each other consistently for a long period of time. But I think what's missing right now to be able to do it, and that's maybe where I'm a little bit biased because I'm in this for years right now, and you always want to get better, right? But I am already happy with results in certain areas regarding strength, in certain areas regarding my body. And maybe it's a little bit different, and I need to think more in terms of how these people are experiencing this journey, right? So I can go, for example, to the gym and I put in a workout, and I literally don't look on a day-to-day basis. How did I look? How does my body look? Now I'm bulking. Do I still have abs? Do you see my abs? Don't you see my abs? Like, I really don't think about that stuff, I just know that each time I put my foot in the gym, you've already won, because you're doing something really good for your mind and your body. And I don't think anymore about those micro perspectives, but I can, and this is coming true to me right now, working together with so many people. it's most of them, and especially the beginners, they need reference points. They need milestones. They need confirmation and that they're doing something right, quote unquote, something tangible that give them the confirmation of you're doing good, keep on going. And it's extremely hard if you have that long-term journey where it almost seems like it doesn't matter if you put in so much intensity in a workout, it's such a fucking long journey still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you're walking up a mountain, or I don't know, go on a road trip, and you start off with a bottle of water, and then like 2 days into the road trip or into the mountain climb, you're out of water. You need those, I don't know, milestones or points along the way, like a pub or a bar or just a place where you can walk in and buy water, if that makes sense. To me, this is maybe like not the best analogy, but what I just mean is you can't, I think for a lot of people, when they didn't already taste in some kind of area how quote unquote success feels like success with workouts, the outcome of workouts, what it does with your body, how you feel yourself, like the health aspects of having a super strong immune system, way more energy. I think if people weren't able yet to taste all those benefits and these rewards, it's literally impossible to quantify because it takes so much time. And if you can create those micro goals with this new type of system that we're putting in place, they will have the confirmation, man, I'm getting stronger as a human being, right? If he starts, for example, with his 1 rep max with bench pressing and it's, I don't know, 15 kilograms. And then he's just consistent with it. And after a month, he saw he went from 15 to 20, for example, right? The same thing with other exercises, for like squatting, for example, or just simply biceps curls. But I just think like if they don't see that big of changes in their body yet, maybe because they weren't that consistent yet with nutrition, or maybe not that consistent with the workouts, or I don't know. But after then, that time, that month, they will see like, damn it, this shit is working, right? I'm getting stronger. I'm doing something good. I'm getting better. They have the confirmation. I think it's easier for them than to sustain it.
I think the quantification is an important element. Like it's important to reference, but for me, I almost recoil a little bit when I frame it in that way. And what gets me in the gym every day is it's almost like an addiction, because to me, it represents a platform to deepen the relationship that I have with myself. That's what I love about it. But if I were to go into a more like calculative, almost like the issue with it is it can almost lean into this like unhealthy desperation to get those results. And that's what I think makes me contract and recoil a little bit. But in compare that long-term approach with the very short-term, just show up to the gym every day.
Yeah,
and
that's a difficult shift to make inside people's mind, because you just mentioned yourself, like you can get obsessed and then it's not that fun anymore when you chase goals like getting stronger, for example, right? And that's the thing. Every single time you put a foot into the gym, you're getting stronger. If it's not your best training you put in, you've become stronger regarding discipline. Because you went to the gym, you have always beneficial stuff happening. You showed up, that's already 50% of the results. And then if you just are consistent with the workouts, you follow the weight descriptions that I give you, you follow the sets and reps that I give you, the only thing that you need to do is enjoy on a daily basis and looking forward to that time.
Yeah, and
What
it
matters.
takes, I think it takes, I need to be careful about like over tooting my own horn, but I think it takes maturity to reach that point. Like, the same thing happened to me in poker. I had to make a lot of money in it to realize that, if anything, it had the opposite effect for me. And maybe there's some deeper psychological stuff going on there. But I guess because I subscribed to that narrative that the end goal will give me an enhanced like sense of worth, and that and arriving at that endpoint and realizing that it was just a hollow, like it was a lie, essentially. I mean, this is why celebrities overdose, right? Because they subscribe to the same shit, which is a dark subject, but it's true. And I was fully engrossed in that same narrative with making money, and the same thing can, I think, be applied to any sort of goal in the perspective we've been discussing, like climbing in the mountain to reach celebrity, like celebrity type fitness.
This is so, it's almost difficult to explain. So you remember the why exercise, right? It's basically to figure out for yourself what you like, or how would your perfect life look like? What would you have achieved regarding, I don't know, professional results? What type of person are you? How does your body look? All that stuff, right? Now, I completely understand that your fulfillment comes from enjoying what you do on a day-to-day basis. But if you don't have an end destination, how can you create yourself a life that you would enjoy on a day-to-day basis? You know what I mean? So my question just is, I do understand that you don't care about the money, for example, that you're going to make. If you're going to be rich or not rich, doesn't matter. Maybe you don't care that much, or if you're going to have, I don't know, abs, right? Or how your body really looks.
Those are just nice pots of gold that you pick up along the way. It's like when you,
sure.
it's like leveling up a character.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting like a reward, like like in an RPG, when you level up your character, you get like a point that you can assign to like your strength or your charisma or your intelligence or something.
Yeah.
Those are points.
Yeah, exactly. But you will also have figured out for yourself which type of person you want to be for the people that surround you, like the people that love you, that you love the most. Or just people in general. You probably have set down goals around this also, like positive energy, massive positive impact on their lives, being able to help them, and so on. So it's just a big picture.
Well, I think you tapped into something important there. That is the purest motivation that there is. If I were to describe my motivation, it's not in terms of body fat or money in the bank. It's in terms of how much I love myself, really.
For sure.
That's the pursuit for me, is to love myself. And
for sure.
It's very abstract way of looking at it. Yeah.
But that's the cool thing. And if you set up this exercise completely wrong, you're fucking yourself over. And this again starts with, I made a post a while ago where I was talking about, I think I called it something in the lines of, this is why you're soft, or something like that. And I made some like fitness arguments, because of course I'm a fitness coach. Like, you never counted calories. You think your workout is like a 10 out of 10, while it's only like a 3 out of 10, and so on. But I ended this post with, you keep comparing yourself to others. And how I come to this sentence right now and how I'm going to tie this back up what you just mentioned and the exercise that we are talking about, you can fuck this exercise up if you're not honest with yourself and if you create it in such a way whilst comparing yourself to somebody else. Like success for one people, for one guy, it's not like you are going to have the same, like the definition of success for you, therefore it's not going to be exactly the same as that particular guy, right? You can have
Right.
the life that you want. That's the exercise. And that's why we are asking, tell me or tell to your, sit with yourself and think about what it is that really fulfills your life, not his life, your life, right? What fulfills your life. If your life gets fulfilled by living in a cabin somewhere in the wood near to a waterfall, waking up whenever you want, have like chickens in the garden, that you have your own meat and a place where you plant vegetables, like completely away from society, man, if this fulfills you, that's something that you should follow. That's a plan that you should follow. And then you break that down. How can I achieve this, for example? For the other guy, he's going to want to become living in a villa in the top of the mountain, 20 sports cars in front of his door, and I don't know, 3 wives. You know, like it's different for everybody. And this guy breaks down his plan how to achieve this in baby steps. It's completely different for everybody. And if you are the type of person who don't care about luxury or money or which type of girlfriend you're living with, or I don't know, or that's even a thing. Maybe you live with the type of girlfriend who likes to never wear clothes and is naked all the time and wants to live with you in your cabin in the woods near side your waterfall. And the other guy, he maybe wants like that supermodel that is never dressed under a word of, but I don't know, 5K with 2K shoes on, a 3K pants, and then, you know, nails done, beautiful makeup all the time. And the other guy, he hates makeup. And that's what I mean. You need to be honest with yourself. Nobody has exactly the same outcomes that they want to. And that's the thing. If you're honest to yourself, then you know what it is that you exactly want. You don't give a fuck about what other people think. You don't give a fuck about how they build up their life, because you compare yourself only against yourself, and you compare yourself only to the person that you want to become. If it's the guy who never wears clothes and lives close to the waterfall, all good, man. Like live towards that person, live that life already, like wake up fully happy, breathe in the nice air outside, go into meditation mode, do what you enjoy so you can contribute to that lifestyle and eventually grow into that person. For the other guy, if he wants to achieve like 70 sport cars in front of his door, he better start figuring out how he's going to make so much money. And he needs to step on and take action, those little steps, every single day of his life. You see? But for him, this journey will feel like really good, because this is the type of person who embraced this end goal as his ultimate success and fulfillment, right? The other guy, he has a complete different perspective on success and what's going to give his fulfillment, and he acts just up on that.
Yeah, and that dishonesty, I think, going full circle here, is what generates the dissonance, which creates the emotional override, resulting in people not going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. But
Because
yeah, go ahead.
It's an uncomfortable emotional charge, which is dealt in one of two ways, right? You either squash it through avoidance, which in this scenario would be just avoiding the gym entirely.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the gym obsessively to try and refute it. And in both scenarios, you burn out. So you either go to the gym obsessively or you don't. And then eventually you hit that phase of burnout, which is why it becomes unsustainable, coming from that root point of dishonesty.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you are very honest with yourself and you embrace it as a journey and you enjoy that process, or you make it a battle against yourself, which you're always going to
A
lose.
what?
A battle
Oh,
against yourself, which you're always going to lose. And then we're talking about burnout, in my opinion.
yeah, dude, it all comes down to framing, I think. Because
Yeah, it's framing. It's consistently framing. If you go to the gym and you see it as a war, it will feel like you're going to war every single day. Right?
Yeah.
You see it as a beautiful part of your lifestyle and you embrace it, and it's part of your journey. It's just going to be fun to go out there.
I had a thought today actually that to me it also depends on the type of workout too, because I've got preferences for different types of workouts like everyone else, and the more aerobic body weight workouts that I did in the past on the body weight programs that we do, those were more of an internal war for me because I don't
I know.
so much.
It's I have the same
stamina
with workouts.
Yeah,
Most
but
people
now that I'm doing something I purely enjoy, which for me is right now a combination of weightlifting some days and then going running on other days. It's like the perfect combination for me that also keeps my motivation high.
Yeah, and I've seen this transformation happening in you from close by, right? You just mentioned last week that you never felt like that you're feeling so good that you're and that you wouldn't.
That's all I think about.
Yeah, and that's cool. It's complicated, man. Anyways, this one is going to be very, very helpful in my opinion also. This new type of program that we're doing. I just want to, like, what I would wish that I was able to do is just go into people's mind and change their perspectives. I really would love to do it. And strange thing is, it's with poker players, I would just think that they have the easiest time to frame this in the correct way or think about this the right way, because you start playing at 5 cents or so and you burn off stacks one after another, and you pile up like small little tweaks in your strategy, be consistent with them, and you see yourself progressing fairly slow, right? Grinding on a daily base, and you see yourself progressing very slow. And then I can't wrap my head around it why they can't project that mindset towards fitness and achieving results with fitness.
I would make the counter argument actually that poker players, since we tend to over intellectualize everything, like it's a very simple adjustment, right? But simple, like it can't, it's the same thing as the GTO pitfall that everyone fell into when Solvers came out on the market. Like, it's the same exact thing, really.
That's something else. The urge of people to overcomplicate stuff.
Right. And what you're talking about is a very simple adjustment, but because we trend more cerebral and overly, like we want to add difficulty to things because the belief that will increase accuracy or sustain.
We touched about this before, man, on this point, and I think it's the way we are set up through society almost.
School,
right?
school.
Yeah, in school, like every year, school gets tougher, right? It gets more complicated. You need to get smarter to pass the tests, and then you are getting, quote unquote, you're getting better, right? So I think it's so programmed in our minds that we think that, okay, so everything needs to get tougher and tougher, it needs to be complicated, because otherwise I'm not worth it, or not, it's not helping, right? If I go to school and it wasn't getting complicated, it wouldn't be helpful. If I go to the gym, it can't be that simple, because School taught me that everything needs to be difficult. And everything in my life needs to get more difficult and difficult. Because otherwise it's not good. It's not going to be helpful. It's so fucking programmation, it's unbelievable.
It created a major imposter syndrome for me when I did climb to the highest stakes. Like I remember thinking, like it gave me an identity crisis almost, because I thought it can't possibly be this easy to make this much money.
Yeah, and then you're going to self-sabotage yourself.
And then I was comparing myself to players like Isildur or something. Well, I'm not Isildur. I'm not like cold-blooded and bluffing every spot and, you know, doing so without flinching. I was trending more. I was basically just a massive nit, and still am, to be honest. And I was making heaps of cash this way. And I thought this can't possibly be this easy. Like something's off. And that also led to what followed.
Yeah, and it's a
identity crisis. Yeah, identity crisis in terms of both technical and also what I perceived would be like an increased worthiness that would follow arriving at that point. And there's so many other elements to this too. Is also what I perceived would be acceptance from my peers who like scolded me, and like my parents, they paraded me around as a gambling addict basically, and I thought, like, if I get to this point in my career, then that's my reference point, right? It all comes down to reference points. Look, like, would a gambling addict be able to get to scale to this height? And what ultimately happened was they just like doubled down.
Yeah. I really wish that we could switch this up. I got another last week. I got another conversation with a client, also a poker player.
Yeah.
And yeah, he felt the stuff that he needed to do for me was too simple as well. So I just said, what do you want? I can make programs extremely challenging, difficult. I can bring variation on a weekly basis on programs, but it's just not the best way. So why would I do it? And the thing is, that's then it's not going to be sustainable either for them. They just think it will be, but it's not. And the results will be worse as well. Because the fast and efficient way is to do repeatedly the same thing all over and over again in a structured way. That's how you pile up results up on top of each other. You know? Yeah,
that we touched on that last week, I think, and I mentioned that to me sounds like a symptom of fear of failure. And coming at it from that perspective, it's more likely that he will end up failing because perfection is impossible. So he'll eventually arrive at a point where he is imperfect with the most simple schedule from his point of view. And then that will create some self-judgment in himself, which is enough. The same way we talked about the distance before, which creates an emotional override. It'll have that same effect. Simple, because if you fail at simple, then what are the implications of that on your identity?
That's right. That's where they're afraid of.
Yeah, so it's a symptom of fear of failure, I think.
Yeah, I think
everyone wants the most complicated
format. It's a mix of both. It's the one that how we are set up by our school system, right? This one, what we just touched on, and then it's a mix of what you just mentioned. If I'm not going to be able to execute in the simplest possible way, what's my worth then? Like, if I even can't do this right, it's a fear of getting confirmation about yourself that you're not able to do something.
Yeah,
you don't have excuses because it's simple and it's not hard.
if it's hard, then if you fail, at least you have an excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah. Juanpi mentioned this in one of our group calls, and he said it. The language, it's ego. The language of it is, you can't even take this small of a step.
Mhm.
What must that say about you? Which resistance everyone feels to beginning working out initially,
Mhm.
because if you do this simple workout, it's not that satisfying from an egoic perspective, because you hold your self-regard like up here. So that difference is what is felt on an emotional scale, which is the painful part. It all comes back to self-judgment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's annoying though, man. Like it really, I really think it's annoying. Annoying. It's just difficult to work through in a lot of aspects. And this, I think, this is the major difference between those who execute on like almost 100% efficiency. They don't have that, and it's what comes to mind right now with me again. It's patience. I don't know. It's like a circle. It has to do with so many things that you have to develop. For example, patience. And maybe the guy who has a lot of patience is just the guy who is completely in sync with himself. Doesn't overjudge himself and is okay with failing even if it's like easy, but he's going to execute it because he's okay with himself. He don't judge himself and he trusts the process, right?
Yeah, the origin which you just touched on is self-judgment, which by extension is your relationship with yourself.
Mhm.
Guys who, man, it feels like a leap to take it to this extreme, but the guys who love themselves the most face less resistance,
Yeah,
kind of self-growth, because the guys who love themselves the least are more susceptible to comparing themselves with others, to subscribing to
that's that's
perfectionistic beliefs.
that's the worst thing that you can do, man. Like compare yourself to other people. It also has to do, in my opinion, with social media.
Oh,
Like, I don't know. It's almost an illness in today's world, comparing yourself with other people. And instead of in the past, before social media, you could maybe compare yourself with the coolest kid in school. Now you can compare yourself with the coolest kid in the entire world,
yeah.
right? So now there are millions of people that you can see, and they're better than you or cooler than you. If you are not able to recalibrate and focus on yourself, you've already lost.
Yeah, it's a sickness, honestly. It
Yeah,
really is.
it is.
Or rather, I would say it accentuates the sickness that we carry in us, which is ego.
Yeah,
It's like it's a conduit for everyone's ego to communicate through.
yeah.
Um,
How are we going to solve it, man?
I was actually kind of relieved when WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram went down yesterday. I thought, okay, well, finally, like the world would fix itself overnight if it was down.
It was fun, man.
Yeah, I
It
was
really
hoping
was.
like a hacker took it down from the
Yeah,
inside.
I was thinking about this also because automatically you are going to check your social media sometimes, and then it still wasn't working.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. What I'm going to do, like, you automatically start to do other things. Maybe talk a little bit more with your son, talk a little bit more with your girlfriend or with your mom, with your dad. And I just thought this was awesome. But we're living in this world, and I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure we are close to helping everybody to best to our ability
Yeah.
and to make it happen for them. The
I thought you
support
were
that
gonna
we
say. I thought you were gonna say we're pretty close to the end, like the apocalypse.
oh bro, I'm not that skeptic.
I don't. We could go either one. I'm more in the optimistic territory too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, who knows?
Okay, bro. Yeah. Shall we go into work? Because we can keep talking about this.
Yeah, sure. That was a good conversation. Maybe you can start after the point where I was like,